Chosen one, there is something important I need to say to you right at the beginning. It may sound unusual, but this message carries a weight that deserves your full attention. Something meaningful is beginning to unfold in your life. Something you may have been waiting on for far longer than anyone realizes. Right now it is still tender, still forming, and it needs more protection than most people understand. Before you speak about what has been stirring in your heart, before you explain it, celebrate it, or place it in front of people who may not know how to hold it, pause for a moment and listen. Many people believe breakthroughs are lost because they lacked faith, but often that is not what happened at all. What was still growing quietly inside them was exposed before it had enough strength to stand on its own. Sometimes the timing of the revelation matters just as much as the revelation itself. The world encourages you to announce everything the moment inspiration arrives. You were taught to share every dream, every vision, every possibility as soon as it appears. There is a place for speaking boldly, but there is also a season when wisdom sounds like silence. Some things need space to develop before they can carry the weight of other people's opinions, questions, and reactions. Think of a seed hidden beneath the soil. No one digs it up every day to prove that it is growing, because that very act would damage the process. What is developing in your life right now resembles that seed. It is taking root beneath the surface, drawing strength in quiet places, and it needs that hidden season before it can emerge strong enough to be seen. You may already know the feeling I am describing. A clear sense of direction comes to you. A glimpse of what could be ahead, and excitement begins to rise. Then you share it with someone, and almost immediately, something changes. A doubtful response, a skeptical look, or even a well-meaning question introduces uncertainty into a place that was previously filled with confidence. Sometimes it is not even what another person says. Sometimes the simple act of speaking releases something that was gathering strength in silence. What felt alive and vibrant begins to lose momentum, and you find yourself wondering where the certainty went. You blame yourself for losing faith, when the deeper truth is that something precious was exposed before it was ready. I know how difficult this season can feel. When your heart is carrying something beautiful, every instinct wants to share it with someone. Keeping it close can feel lonely at times, almost like carrying a secret burden by yourself. Yet what you are experiencing is not isolation, it is preparation, and there is a profound difference between the two. You are not hiding because of fear or shame. You are caring for something valuable, just as a mother protects new life long before she introduces it to the world. You are being asked to nurture what has been entrusted to you. What you carry is not a burden to endure. It is evidence that something real is taking shape. If something inside you recognizes this truth, if you can look back and see moments when speaking too soon cost you something precious, then pause here with me. Comment the words, "I will guard this," not because those words change heaven, but because they can strengthen your own commitment to protect what has been placed in your care. The season of silence is often misunderstood. Many people interpret it as delay, restriction, or withholding, when in reality it is one of the ways protection appears. When you feel prompted to stay quiet about what is unfolding, it may be because what is growing carries more significance than you realize. Valuable things are protected for a reason. No one places security around something that has no worth. The very fact that you feel this call toward restraint is a sign that what is developing matters. Silence is not a sign that the answer is being denied. It is often the safeguard around an answer that is already on its way. There is also a reason this has felt so difficult for you. The urge to tell someone, the desire to hear another person confirm what you feel, can become stronger than you expected. That impulse is not always a matter of discipline. There is often something deeper beneath it, and understanding that deeper layer changes everything. For now, hold this question close as we continue. What if the tendency to reveal things too early is not simply weakness or lack of self-control? What if it points to something within you that can be healed, strengthened, and restored? Keep that question with you, because the answer matters more than you know. Before we go further, I want you to recognize how this pattern may have appeared throughout your life. You have likely shared a dream with someone who could not see what you saw. You may have felt enthusiasm drain away after receiving a doubtful response. There may even be opportunities that seem to unravel shortly after you announce them, leaving you confused about what happened. Perhaps you began to believe that talking about good things somehow caused them to disappear. Deep down you sensed there was a connection, even if you could never fully explain it. The truth is that fragile beginnings need protection. When they are exposed too early, they face pressures they were never meant to carry in their earliest stages. You may also remember the pain of opening your heart to someone whose opinion mattered, only to have your hope dismissed or minimized. A dream that felt sacred suddenly felt vulnerable. Part of you withdrew, and believing for something greater became harder after that experience. The wound did not come from dreaming. It came from watching something meaningful be handled without care. So hear this clearly. The answer is not to stop hoping. The answer is not to lower your expectations or abandon what has been placed in your heart. The answer is learning how to protect a promise while it is still growing, allowing it to gain strength in private before it faces the outside world. Many of the things you mourned were not false dreams. They were simply exposed before their roots were deep enough. There is a season when what heaven begins exists only in faith, before there is visible evidence for anyone else to see. During that space between promise and fulfillment, what has been given remains incredibly delicate, and your words carry more influence than you realize. The difficult truth is this: sometimes the urge to speak comes from wanting someone else to confirm what you are still learning to trust for yourself. When you tell people about the vision, the breakthrough, or the possibility ahead, part of you may be looking for reassurance. You may be hoping someone will say, "Yes, I see it too," and in that moment, what you are really seeking is validation for something that already lives within you. The need for other people to confirm what you feel is often the very opening through which your breakthrough slips away. If you felt completely anchored in what had been placed inside you, there would be no urgency to explain it, prove it, or place it in someone else's hands before it's time. The impulse to speak too soon is often connected to a deeper longing to be believed, and that longing usually points to a place within you that is still learning how to trust what heaven has already shown you. I want you to understand something important about that hunger. It is easy to mistake it for weakness or assume it reflects a flaw in your character, but that is not what is happening. The desire to have your inner knowing confirmed by others often grows when the part of you that should be able to hold truth quietly has become worn down. It is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is a sign that something within you needs strengthening. A person with a strong inner foundation can carry a promise for a long time without feeling compelled to announce it. They do not depend on someone else's agreement to make it real, because the reality already lives firmly inside them. But when that inner certainty has been weakened by disappointment, rejection, or years of questioning yourself, the pressure to speak can feel overwhelming. You begin searching outside yourself for reassurance because holding the truth alone feels heavier than it should. What many people call a lack of discipline is often something much deeper. The pattern of revealing things too early can be a symptom of an inner world that has grown tired from carrying too much uncertainty. When the ability to hold a promise in silence becomes weak, every new hope feels like it needs witnesses before it can survive. Yet the real issue was never your inability to stay quiet. It was the condition of the place within you that was trying to carry the promise. If these words are touching something familiar in your life, pause for a moment and acknowledge it. Comment the words, "I hold it in silence." This realization matters more than it may seem. It marks the moment when self-criticism begins to give way to understanding, and when you finally start seeing the deeper reason your heart has struggled to keep certain things protected. Now that the pattern is becoming clear, it is time to talk about what helps break it. Understanding is the first step. Once you can recognize the true source of the impulse, it loses much of its control over you. You cannot guard against something you do not understand. But once it has been brought into the light, you begin to see it for what it is. The next time you feel the urge to share something before it is ready, you will be able to pause and recognize what is happening beneath the surface. You will notice the desire for confirmation rather than mistaking it for necessity. That awareness creates a choice, and in that choice you gain the power to protect what matters. The second step is learning to see silence differently. For a long time you may have experienced this season as restriction, as though something was being withheld from you. Yet there is another way to view it. Every sacred thing you protect builds strength within you. Every truth you carry, without needing an audience, develops a deeper kind of authority. Silence is not shrinking your life. It is expanding your capacity. Each day, you resist the urge to expose what is still growing. You are developing the strength that future blessings will require. What feels hidden today is shaping the character, steadiness, and maturity needed for what is ahead. This season is not empty space between events. It is a workshop where your inner authority is being formed. Thrilling is doing something valuable within you, even when there is little visible evidence to prove it. What feels slow on the outside is often producing strength on the inside. The deepest part of this journey reaches beneath the behavior itself and touches the root. The craving for validation is connected to an inner clarity that has become weakened over time, and that clarity can return. Many people spend years believing their tendency to overshare is simply part of who they are. They accept it as a permanent trait rather than considering the possibility that healing is available. What if the struggle is not permanent? What if there is a reason it developed? And because there is a reason, there is also a path toward restoration. Some battles cannot be won through force alone. When a deeper need is driving the behavior, healing comes through strengthening the source rather than fighting the symptom. As that inner strength returns, something begins to change naturally. The pressure to seek validation softens. The need to have others confirm your reality loses its grip. The part of you that once reached outward for reassurance becomes steady enough to carry the truth on its own. There is more to understand about this, and we will return to it. But before we move forward, you need to see what becomes possible when you learn to protect what has been entrusted to you. The future waiting on the other side of this lesson is exactly what this season of silence has been preparing you for. There is also another truth that deserves your attention. Not everyone who asks about your life is meant to hear every detail of it. Some people care about you deeply and still lack the capacity to celebrate what they have not yet experienced themselves. Their limitations may have nothing to do with you, yet they can still affect what you are trying to nurture. When someone is carrying unresolved disappointment, your joy can unknowingly touch places in them that still hurt. What returns to you may not be encouragement, but resistance, hesitation, or doubt. Most of the time this is not intentional. It is simply the overflow of their own struggles meeting your emerging hope. Yet regardless of the source, the effect can be the same. A dream that is still taking root becomes burdened before it has developed the strength to rise. This is why wisdom matters just as much as faith. Protecting something sacred includes knowing when to speak, when to remain silent, and who has earned access to what is still growing. The right people do exist. There will be those who can celebrate without competing, encourage without questioning, and nurture without disturbing what is unfolding. They will know how to honor what has been entrusted to you. But there is a season before those conversations arrive. For now, allow what has been planted to grow in quiet places. Let it remain between you and God until it becomes so rooted that no opinion, criticism, or misunderstanding can shake it. And when the time is right, when it has gained the strength it was meant to have, it will no longer need protection. It will be ready to be seen. Now I want you to see what happens when you truly embrace this season, because sometimes a glimpse of the future gives you the strength to remain faithful in the present. Picture yourself a few months from now, the thing you protected, the dream you kept close, the promise you refused to expose before its time, has been quietly growing beneath the surface. While no one else could see it, it was becoming stronger every day. What is forming in your life right now does not need constant attention from others. It needs space. It needs stillness. It needs the kind of protection that allows roots to reach deep before branches ever reach outward. And one day, what was once hidden emerges with a strength that no opinion, criticism, or misunderstanding can shake. When that moment arrives, the people you once felt tempted to convince will no longer need an explanation. They will not be asked to approve your vision or validate your journey. They will simply witness what has already come to life. What was once fragile will stand on its own, and the promise will speak for itself. This is the reward of the sealed season. It is not a smaller life or a life of endless waiting. It is the joy of seeing something reach completion because it was given the time and protection it needed to grow. The breakthrough survives because you learned how to guard it. The first thing that changes is you. A quiet strength begins to form within you, unlike anything you have known before. When you stop depending on others to confirm what God has placed in your heart, you become steady in a new way. Your confidence no longer rises and falls with the reactions of the people around you. The opinions that once unsettled you lose their influence. Doubt spoken by others no longer has easy access to your inner world. You carry yourself differently, with a calm authority that cannot be manufactured. People notice it even if they cannot explain where it comes from. The second transformation is just as powerful. The painful pattern of watching good things collapse before they fully develop begins to disappear. What you protect now has the opportunity to mature. It reaches the season it was intended to reach, because it was no longer exposed while it was still vulnerable. One by one, the things that were meant for you begin arriving with greater strength and stability. Not because you suddenly became more gifted or started dreaming bigger dreams, but because you learned the value of protecting what was still growing. You finally gave your hopes enough room to live. The deepest change, however, happens within your relationship with God. Silence creates a kind of closeness that constant sharing never can. When there are things only you and God know, something sacred develops in that private space between you. The conversations become more personal. The trust becomes deeper. The things you once rushed to explain to everyone else become moments of communion, carried into prayer and held there. Over time, you begin recognizing His voice with greater clarity because your attention is no longer scattered in every direction. What once felt like loneliness reveals itself as intimacy. What felt like withholding becomes relationship. The discipline of silence starts producing a connection that is worth far more than the temporary comfort of outside validation. Take a moment and anchor yourself in that future. Let yourself feel it. If this speaks to something in your spirit, comment the words, "sealed and protected." Say it as someone who is learning to honor what has been entrusted to them and who understands the value of guarding it well. You are not the first person called into this kind of wisdom. Scripture offers examples of those who carried sacred things carefully and those who learned painful lessons by revealing them too soon. Some treasured what they were given and allowed it to unfold in its proper season. Others shared too quickly and faced unnecessary resistance along the way. The invitation before you is simple. Become someone who knows how to carry a promise with patience. Become someone who can hold what is precious close to the heart until the right time arrives. There is maturity in that. There is strength in that, and that strength is already being formed within you. You are not becoming a person who constantly leaks every dream and every hope the moment it appears. You are becoming a guardian of sacred things. You are learning how to carry a promise quietly, how to protect it faithfully, and how to let it grow until it is ready to be seen. The breakthrough ahead is teaching you more than you realize. It is developing a discipline that will serve you far beyond this current season. The lesson is larger than this one promise. It is shaping the kind of person who can be trusted with future promises as well. You now understand the pattern that has challenged you for so long. You see why the urge to speak can become so strong, and you can also see what becomes possible when you resist it. More importantly, you are beginning to recognize that the answer is not found in self-condemnation or endless effort. The answer begins with restoration. The hunger for validation loses its grip when your inner world grows stronger. The need to seek confirmation from every direction starts to fade when you learn to rest in what has already been shown to you. As that inner steadiness returns, silence becomes easier, trust becomes deeper, and what has been entrusted to you becomes far easier to protect. What is being prepared for you deserves a guardian whose heart is steady and whole, and as you continue through this season, that is exactly who you are becoming. Before we continue, I want you to hear something clearly. If this message has stirred something deep within you, do not rush past it. Do not dismiss what your spirit has already recognized. If these words have helped you see the value of protecting what is sacred, comment the words, "I guard what is sacred," and let that be a quiet declaration of the season you are stepping into. Now let me speak to who you truly are, beneath the habits, mistakes, and disappointments of the past. Beneath every dream you shared too soon and every promise you struggled to protect. There has always been something stronger within you. You are not careless. You are not incapable. The very fact that you have been entrusted with something worth guarding reveals more about your calling than your failures ever could. When heaven asks you to carry something in silence, it is not because you are being pushed aside. It is because you are being trusted. There is a difference between being excluded and being entrusted, and many people never learn to recognize it. What feels like a restriction today may actually be an invitation into greater responsibility. You are being formed into someone who can carry weighty things with wisdom. The assignment to remain silent is not evidence of disappointment from God. It is evidence of confidence. You are being invited into a deeper level of stewardship where not everything must be announced in order to be real. There is also a depth developing within you that this generation rarely understands. We live in a world that rewards constant sharing and endless visibility. Yet some of the most powerful growth happens where no audience exists. The ability to carry something precious without needing recognition creates a quiet strength that cannot be manufactured. Over time, that depth becomes part of your presence. People begin to sense a steadiness in you. There is a calm authority that grows in those who no longer feel compelled to explain everything they know or reveal everything they are carrying. The sealed season is producing that kind of strength within you right now, and there is another reason this matters. What is growing in your life is larger than you may realize. The blessing being prepared for you is not meant to stop with you. It is connected to people, opportunities, and lives that may not even be visible to you yet. The promise you protect today can become a source of hope and provision for others tomorrow. That is why your silence is not selfish. It is an act of care by allowing something to mature before exposing it to the world. You are protecting not only your future, but the future impact of what has been entrusted to you. Some things are meant to nourish many people, and they must be given time to grow strong enough to do so. Let me leave you with something practical to carry into your everyday life. Each morning, before the demands of the day begin pulling at your attention, give yourself a few quiet moments. Sit with God. Breathe. Become still. Return to that place inside you where truth can exist without needing immediate confirmation from anyone else. The strongest inner lives are built in those quiet moments. When you begin your day grounded instead of searching for validation, you strengthen the very part of yourself that can hold a promise with peace. That steadiness becomes a foundation you carry into every conversation, every decision, and every challenge that follows. There is one more practice I want you to remember. When the urge to tell someone everything rises up inside you, pause before acting on it. Do not judge yourself for feeling it. Simply recognize it for what it is. Name it honestly and bring it into the light. Tell yourself, this is the hunger speaking, not the truth. The hunger seeks confirmation. The hunger wants immediate reassurance. The hunger believes someone else must agree before something becomes real. But truth stands on its own, even in silence. The moment you recognize that difference, something shifts. The urge begins to lose its authority over you because you no longer mistake it for a genuine need. Instead, you return to the deeper part of yourself, the steady place that already knows what has been placed in your heart and trusts it enough to carry it quietly. And as that inner steadiness grows, you will discover something beautiful. What once felt difficult becomes natural. What once felt like restraint becomes wisdom, and the part of you that can protect a sacred promise in peace begins to take its rightful place once again. I want to leave you with the story of someone who spent years watching good things slip through their hands. Every time a new opportunity appeared, every time a dream began to take shape, they shed it too early. After enough disappointments, they started believing something was wrong with them, as though they were destined to watch every blessing fall apart before it arrived. What they could not see at the time was that many of those fragile beginnings simply needed more protection than they had been given. Everything changed when they learned how to hold what was precious without immediately placing it before the world. The shift was not dramatic or forced. It was not a sudden burst of willpower. Instead, they noticed that the desperate need to tell everyone had quietly faded. Their inner world had become steady enough to carry hope without requiring constant confirmation. For the first time, something they protected completely was allowed to grow all the way to completion. It matured without interference, strengthened without outside pressure, and arrived fully intact. That experience was not a rare exception. It was the natural result of learning how to care for a promise until it was ready to stand on its own. Before we bring this message to a close, I want you to do something with me, wherever you are right now. Allow yourself to become still for a moment. Let your shoulders soften. Take a slow breath and release it gently, giving yourself permission to step away from the noise for just a few seconds. Now picture the thing that has been growing quietly inside you. See it as a small flame resting carefully within your hands. It is alive. It is beautiful. It carries possibility, and at this stage it is still delicate enough that it deserves your attention and care. Imagine yourself drawing your hands around that flame, not out of fear, but out of love. You are not hiding it from the world because it lacks value. You are protecting it because it has value. You understand that some things need time before they are exposed to the wind. Feel the warmth of that flame resting in your palms. Notice how precious it feels. Then make a quiet promise within yourself that you will protect it. Decide that you will no longer place it before doubt, criticism, or unnecessary opinions before its time. Commit to giving it the space it needs to become everything it was meant to become. Hold that image for a moment. Let yourself feel the responsibility and the privilege of carrying something worth protecting. What is in your hands today may become a light that reaches far beyond what you can currently imagine. For now, your task is simply to guard it well. As we move into the closing moments of this message, take another slow breath and allow gratitude to settle over you. Not forced gratitude, but a quiet appreciation for the fact that something meaningful has been entrusted to your care. There is grace in that realization. There is dignity in being trusted with something still growing. Now release whatever weight you carried into this moment. Release the need to have everyone understand. Release the fear of carrying a dream in silence. Release the disappointment of opportunities that seem to disappear after being shared too soon. Allow those burdens to fall away from you. Imagine gathering all of those old frustrations into your hands and letting them slip away like sand. Let go of the need for constant validation. Let go of the loneliness you may have associated with hidden seasons. Let go of the regret attached to past mistakes. As those things leave your grasp, notice how much lighter and steadier you feel. From that place of steadiness, step into the person you are becoming. Say these words within your spirit, or speak them aloud if you wish. I will guard what has been entrusted to me. I will protect what is growing in my life. I do not need constant confirmation from the world to believe what has already been placed in my heart. I am a guardian of sacred things. I am becoming a person of depth, patience, and wisdom. I will carry this flame carefully, allowing it to grow in quiet places until it becomes strong enough to shine without fear of being extinguished. If these words resonate with your whole heart, leave a marker for yourself. Comment the words, My lips are sealed. Let it be more than a phrase. Let it become a reminder of the commitment you are making in the season, a reminder that not everything valuable needs to be announced before it is ready. And now, receive this final encouragement. What is developing in your life is real. It is closer than you think, and it matters enough to deserve your protection. Do not resent the silence. Do not mistake hidden growth for absence. This season is not about being overlooked. It is about being entrusted, so continue to guard the flame. Carry it carefully. Let it grow in the quiet places where roots deepen and strength is formed. And when the time finally comes, what you protected in private will stand in full view, strong enough for everyone to see. The world will witness the very thing you chose to nurture when no one else understood its value. Hold it close, protect it well, and let it grow